I guess, I got it.
Sure.
Me too.
Sure. Hello, everyone online. Not a problem. Okay, that was Cattell, Sam, Kyle, Jennifer, Haley. Jack, did you want me to get yours?
Sure, you got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
No
It
problem.
was like, so, I love you.
Excuse me. He absolutely was. Yeah. Yeah, I got the comments from most of you guys who attended. That was basically, I think I heard some terms we're talking about in class.
There were some, but a lot of what he was going over at the end were all like.
Yeah, and you know, it's a useful thing for you guys to understand the difference in the emphases in the programs, right? You're getting a basic overview of this knowledge so you can apply it to operations. Engineers are getting an in-depth exposure to that kind of data so they can design reactors. Different purposes, different levels.
I was gonna say the level of calculation.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to go into nuclear engineering in the future, the reactor theory class that they teach in the nuclear engineering department is calculus based. We're approximating many things to do it algebra based, which still gives you a really good perspective of the data, but it is for different purposes, right? So
Yeah,
it,
after he was done talking about K factors and
yeah. So it, you know, it's still useful for you guys to understand where the difference lies, I feel. Okay. Share the screen. So what we're going to do today is we have two spent fuel pool analyses. I handed out one yesterday. I have a couple other copies of that. Does anyone want a physical copy? Haley, Sam? And then I only have two extra.
Oh, you do?
That was the one I handed out. I can give it. And then there's a second one, which I have copies of.
Oh, this is online, huh?
It is online. Here's the other one. Other one.
Oh, I created a copy.
And I've got one more copy if somebody wants.
I'll take it.
So let's talk in groups of three. We'll have the three in the back, the three ladies, and the three gentlemen, and then the two people online. You're trying to take a moment, read these. You might want to split it up so you're not all reading the exact same one at the same time. And you're going to tell me, based on what we've been discussing about controls, alarm systems, redundancy in our quick controls, do you think one, both, or neither of these fuel pools would be approved designs for storage to prevent criticality? This is something that you will absolutely be part of doing in the workplace. Whenever safety analysis reports or design changes get sent to the regulator to get approved, there's going to be a team of reviewers that always includes operators, because operators have to be able to use these facilities. And so you have to be able to look at a document written by your engineering team that explains how the system is going to be implemented in a safe way and understand whether or not that is actually going to be the case. This is a skill that does take a lot of practice. And as you get in the workplace and start reading SARs and then looking in the workplace, you'll connect some of those dots. So if there's a little bit of like, well, I can't actually see this place, I don't know exactly what they're saying, that's okay. That's about the level I expect you guys to be at, having not gotten a ton of work experience. But I wanted to do this exercise to get you guys to start analyzing and thinking that way, so you're ready to be on a review team when that happens. Any questions? Joe?
Which is the name and noodle of this PDF?
If you go into the assignment in class fuel pool analysis, those two PDFs right here, those are the two documents. The ETRR one is the one I just handed out today that you guys have that physical copy of. The PWR fuel pool analysis is the one I handed out yesterday. It's a little bit bigger, so I gave it to you guys early. Get a chance to look at it if you wanted. I am looking for each of you to do an individual submission at the end of class. It doesn't have to be a big essay, but say, yes, I think they both are safe designs, neither, or which one if you think it's just one. And tell me a couple sentences of the highlights of why you have that opinion. You guys want to get in your groups? I'm going to turn the volume down on the computer, those of you who are online, so that you guys can discuss. So if you have a question, send it to me in chat and I'll be watching periodically.
Sounds good, thanks.
Ladies on the right and the gentleman on the left. Yeah, Jill.
It's due tomorrow at midnight.
It is.
It
But-
says it will not accept submissions until tomorrow at 8 in the morning.
I apologize. That should be today at 8 in the morning. Okay, that is fixed. If you refresh, you should be able to submit now.
This is the ETRR.
And I'm sorry, Porter or Marcus, did you guys have a question?
No,
Okay, all right, I'm gonna turn your volume down. Go ahead and discuss.
The original is 22 pages. You want me to read the whole 22 pages?
No, you can probably scan for some important information, like where it describes the physical design of the fuel pool, what its crit safety controls are. I know that there's a extensive area where it talks about, like it did this MCNP and scale calculation. We're not really talking about computer models in this class. It's great to know that they modeled it and that they think the model's safe. You probably don't have to read that section in depth.
So the larger document is a general document, or does it describe an
hey
incident?
Marcus, do you remember what ANS 8.1 was?
The, the,
No, I was trying to look for it and find that it,
They're not describing different incidents.
or,
The one you have physically right here
no, I'm not.
describes a fuel storage pool,
Yeah, I can't remember what that
ETRR,
was.
which is a particular reactor. The larger document describes the design of a fuel storage pool for a generic PWR reactor.
and that 66-page document is what we're supposed to apply the standards from to these? See if they would meet standards? No?
I only have that it's 20 pages, 22.
Criticality safety standards.
Oh, so yes, you can reference that to make sure, like our discussion from yesterday, the standards that apply. You're looking for,
And it's for section 8.1.
yes, and so that, those requirements are in the PowerPoint, right? Because the 8.1 standard costs money for us to have. So if you look at that module, the criticality safety requirements from Monday, it has a list of standards and the requirements. It's an overview of requirements from the standards. So that's what you're comparing to. does it have these requirements?
Yeah, that's the 66-page document. I think.
Okay.
Where did it show off the PowerPoint?
I didn't see
I
it.
think either, because if you look at the table of contents of that PDF, that gives you a list of what you're looking at, right? And if you need a refresher, you can jump in. So if you go to like the 8.1, it's pages 212 to 216 inside that 66-page document. So it's not the whole 66 pages. Because I'm only asking you to compare to 8.1. So just so everyone heard that, I ask you to compare to the requirements from the ANS standard 8.1. The PDF that I posted on Monday has a list of the requirements from 8.1 on pages 212 to 216. So that's where you can compare if the things that are necessary, excuse me, to meet the requirement for handling material outside the reactor are included in these two full analyses. Yes.
Okay, so I guess this 8.1 is basically saying everything has, it has to say stay subcritical.
Yeah.
Is there an extra credit today in the middle of the day, right before Tom's deal?
There is, if you wish to register for the webinar that ANS is doing, it's an overview of the remote sensing lab. It's free and online. Yes. Or 10, 11 or 10.
Oh,
Not
gosh, it's hard
I
to,
sent an email and there's a link to register in the email.
More,
so many extra credits.
Yeah.
more extra credits for, boilers. Yeah, boilers.
Did you do the,
Class for the lawn.
did you do the combustible dust one?
Oh, no. You? The one that's-
should we ask her to put us in like a
However,
backup
one,
group?
you can watch the 30-minute combustible dust video.
That's for what?
and give me a
Should
summary.
we
of
ask
what
her to
you learned.
break us out into those like
I'm trying
breakout
to
groups?
balance. Not everyone comes to campus every
Having a
day.
hard time talking
I wanna
over
just have you
everyone.
watch videos.
One with the side was one.
Yes.
Text her.
Yeah, I am too.
And I believe everyone's extra credit is entered now. So you should probably double check the grade book, give me a peer check.
But is there a listing that says extra credit?
Yes. I don't know, I guess if it shows up in student view, it absolutely
I don't
does
think
show
it
up.
does, because
Instructor.
I'm pretty sure you've given me some that I can't see it.
I can see it, but it doesn't have a value
Which class?
for one for that seminar.
Okay.
This is,
I literally saved that this morning. So let me make sure I saved it correctly. That's because it only saves Kyle's. For the Dr. Immel presentation. Jennifer,
All right, if you look at page 2-13 and 2-14, it's basically like all the rules.
Marcus went to that
Right.
and Caden went to that.
So I guess
Okay, see if it's empty now. Yes.
there's just so much information within these two
Yeah, I know.
documents.
is that worth it?
That's what I try to match extra credit to. The quiz.
But- Yeah.
Those are all-
Yeah, if I get a bunch of those, I don't do that.
Mine's not. Maybe I need. Oh, there.
Mhm.
Just remember, as we take more quizzes, the value of the extra credit goes down. It stays equal with the quizzes.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I don't even know where to start on this. There's just so much.
Part of this document's talking about one of the regions of
Yeah.
With these graphs and then
right about that region.
Like talking about like a hypothetical, I don't know.
Mhm.
Okay, so what I would do is yeah.
Okay, so it's called analysis of PWR spent fuel storage facilities. So I'm gonna assume they're gonna mention like keeping the correct shape so it doesn't go critical and keeping the mass low.
Mhm.
So maybe just search for mass in the document. Nope. Oh, shape.
Mhm.
It's all about like this. It keeps talking about this axial burn up shapes.
Mhm.
I don't know what that is.
It should allow you to pull out quite a
Are you
few
looking
more,
at the
but
longer one or
is it
the?
enough? And is it good enough?
Yeah,
If it doesn't,
that'd be the hardest. So
it'll be. Used.
As
That's the
long as
problem.
we're using that idea that nothing is a single parameter control, right? We have double contingency principle. They don't have to have 5 controls, but they do have to have at least 2.
Okay.
And you are welcome to discuss and work with Jack and Joe.
Right. I'm still,
But you're supposed to.
I'm still reading that.
Yes, Joe is correct.
So what I'm trying to do is
Would it be helpful for you guys? if I
Right.
went
you read the requirements first.
You guys just, are you guys doing this one? Right. What I found on this one, this basically has all the stuff. The, this, ANS stuff.
All the requirements.
Yeah, this
So
is-
far met by the theoretical.
Yeah,
This is theoretical reactor and this is an actual.
this one's actually an actual,
Think about.
yeah. This is a good.
just need to find them a couple errors and say.
That's what I.
and say,
So
no,
on
it
the
doesn't work.
first one, and if I were you, as I read that, I would have to table it.
Okay, there's kind of this paragraph on page 262 in the long one. I guess it's page 6 in the for the
Oh.
PDF.
Okay.
It's kind of it's hard to understand. I think what it's saying is they're not worried about criticality because the fission of the material is low, like low enough to not be concerned. Like it's talking about some of the material has a super short half-life, so that they can add more of that to the storage, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just worded kind of difficultly, but I don't know. You can read it. I think that's what it's saying right there in that lower paragraph, right above the isotope
Mm-hmm.
graph.
So when you ask for the criticality analysis of the ANSI, is this everything that needs to be?
Well, it seems like just those two, yeah, aren't listed, and then the rest of these have
So like that would be the process.
WD.
That wouldn't be without the safety analysis.
But this is what this is describing.
So you don't have to wonder.
Exactly. They're trying to prove that they have to now. Did they look at all the correct process pieces? Did they look at the operational piece? Feel like this system that works, and then they look at all the possible mistakes.
But if there was some that I don't.
Then you would mark that down.
So under stuff like materials control, where it gives like those two sentences, like administration with material shop. That's not like one of the parameters. That's just a whole thing.
So
So, no, this is a shall, right? They have to have material control.
Yeah, but do they have to have something here?
The materials control could be movement. It could be having a rack in a certain form that only allows things in that form. It could be a mass or procedure CPA.
it's like what part of the 8.1 or would you like tie that to?
Um, hmm.
I'm looking through this document.
So I guess would that be subcritical limits? Because they're kind of like setting a limit of how much fissionable material can be stored together.
Yeah, I was thinking, maybe, does it go on to say like we'll only allow this much of it, like an actual? I meant, or are they just saying what each thing is worth, and I'm not. And I just got all these graphs and stuff on here, and I just,
Yeah.
And I'm looking at their design saying what
Exactly. And so, for example, here, they're going through all of their process analysis. Hey, water level, that's something.
I don't know. Maybe that last sentence of that paragraph where it says, so therefore, as regards to depletion code validation for burnout credit applications, spent fuel storage pools, attention can mainly be focused on the verification of the calculated inventory. So, I mean, you can kind of say they're saying they just need to focus on actual material. I don't, oh, is that what they're saying? Like, need to focus on how much material from the reactor? I don't know. Oh, here we go. There's one in that 8.1. It says validation of calculation method. Like that's what that whole paragraph's about, or that full document.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say that, and we'll say subcritical limits. Well, that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I think we're taking advantage of the yesterday. So it should have pretty much, in this should have process analysis, material,
Exactly.
each one of those.
Yeah. So I would, as you read the two field pool analysis, I'd have that table of contents up.
Yeah.
And I'd start checking. And if you don't see them, then say, okay, what were some examples? Maybe I missed it. Nope, they don't have it. Or they.
So that's what I'm doing. All right. Just look at these highlighted ones.
The first is like this management established response. And reading through here, I guess I need to.
Okay. I guess that's another thing under the subsection of
Management established.
the validation of calculation method. It was like you gotta say what programs you use and all that. And I think if I understand right, like they mentioned the scale.
I mean, in their, the fuel pool.
Yeah, she said you just have to do two.
Less than 1K effective.
So I'm just gonna write about these two and call it good for that document.
Yeah.
Also, the
That's hurting my head.
less than 1 may be expected. I still don't know that that means the set of criteria.
Doesn't seem explicit.
No, it's implicit. Maybe that's. They're supposed to take off and you're supposed to figure out. how to do that.
But that's what, that's something we discussed.
Right.
As far as responsibility goes.
They seem to assume responsibility. No. It's still be nice, something more explicit. But pretty, before you know it, they're just getting to the description, they're not really getting into that.
Yeah. There's no emergency.
In the spent fuel pool paragraph, it says it was designed to accept a maximum of 50 non-fit assemblies. That's a criteria. Would you say? Where you?
I think mine's maybe accepted by yeah, and it kind of lays it out. More than, like in one of Yeah.
Did you see an area where it seemed to you like it's clear that management established their responsibility and their criteria?
Let's say that the procedures are like UNRC regulatory or
Yeah, being on too, so I'm looking for something that says, if something goes wrong, it's our fault.
I don't know if they'll, this is just. Procedure wise, maybe we'll talk about like operations days, yeah, you know, they don't really talk about. But it just says procedure.
Like, you know, our chief engineer has signed off on this stuff.
Yeah.
We support.
Yeah, see, that would be nice. Young kids, they don't really have to take the other people, they take the design or something. Yeah. We're filling it with flour. I was like lean over. And we're like, oh, guess what? Nothing's happened. Seriously? Yeah. I dropped it off the corner of the table. Breaks.
You got it in the case?
Huh?
Got it in a tough case?
Yeah, I just got it.
Well, it was worth the money.
Yeah.
All right, have you find anything for the other document?
Yeah.
Because that case was worth it.
I was just
Hey, Amber's here.
back my case. Break the phone.
Oh, nice.
Maybe.
Did Amber just get in or?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
haven't paid attention.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Us too.
Yeah.
No, so we're just looking at these documents and finding how they correlate to the nuclear safety standards, nuclear criticality safety standards.
Okay.
All right, Marcus, what did you find?
I mean, the shorter one also gives their method of calculations, but it's like nothing's as like in depth really.
Mm,
It'd be a little embarrassing if they did.
But I don't know if it'll be set up like
At least not section 4. Section 5 has a little bit of stuff that maybe we can
yeah.
use, but
Basically just taking roads. Find anything like abnormal. And my stepdad just told me, because he built, you know, where
a little bit of data there with
I moved in.
that second table. It's kind of similar, the idea of the other one. I don't know.
Of the validation of calculation method.
Yeah. So Amber, did you find the documents that we're looking at?
Yeah, I found them. I'm just trying to read them and understand them.
Uh-huh. Did you find the one with the ANS on Mondays? PDF she put out?
as far as movement of fissile material.
No. Is that not in the assignment we're doing right now? That's
No,
somewhere else.
it's back on Monday. She put that out. It's like
So
pages
there's really nothing.
13 to 216.
Oh, okay.
The agent shall be investigated promptly. No, peer review. I'm not really sure.
It's just like an explanation.
This is what we're gonna do. And this is
I don't
what,
know, Porter, does anything stick out to you with this?
Yes, on the last page, or no, page 6 in the PDF is talks about water level.
Mm-hmm.
Shows the dependence of K effective on the pool water level. So that would be that's one of them.
Hey, Porter, I can put you guys into a breakout room.
It's okay. It was just loud for a minute and then we couldn't talk to each other, but we're good.
Okay.
All right, that one has to go with one of these.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah, just, I don't know, it's the. This is like on here. So this shows if you look at the model. It tells you like how they like it is how they built it.
they did mention,
It is. Well,
you're saying that they mentioned geometry.
oh, they didn't mention. This shows what it's going to look like.
Okay, here on conclusions on page 8, the last one, it talks about ETRR-1 has been performed in normal conditions and some postulated accidents. So wouldn't that be emergency procedure? No. Yeah, emergency procedures, because they've gone through what could happen in accidents and they've approved procedures to prevent it. That's one right.
Yeah, that second thing, like they should be made aware of conditions that might be encountered. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is just see deviations from procedure. I mean, is this thing supposed to list procedures out, or is it just supposed to tell you what you need to know to write procedures?
Designs or something.
Mhm.
So they're not actually built.
At least
Just kind of, I don't know.
one of them was actually built,
That's what I wrote
the ET.
on the last page in the conclusions. It's saying that they have completed tests and approved procedures on what to do both under normal conditions and emergencies.
And that's in Egypt.
In Egypt.
And that's what I'm turning
Yes.
in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
They pretty much support all the nuclear development in the Middle East.
They built the Aswan Dam.
Mhm.
Where's that
Egypt,
at? Oh,
largest power producing dam in the world too.
oh, I think I heard about that. Didn't it like make that Earth, no, like, it was so big that it made like the rotation of Earth. It's made of water. That's probably what Russia said.
I know it destroyed the Nile Delta.
There, we just need one more.
Sediment that used to be deposited there in the river gets caught up in the dam now. So they've completely removed the
Here,
plant and
we'll
wildlife.
do validation of calculation method for the what you're saying on page 4, method of calculations.
It was the
Mhm.
80s, right?
They're just proving that their criticality experiments have the results they expect.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got about 5 minutes of class left. My intention is not that you guys take this and spend the next day putting a lot of time into it. With where you have read so far, understand you had a time limit. What are you guys feeling? You feel like the PWR analysis is looking like it's going to be adequate? Okay. Did you guys find anything in it that's like, absolutely not, this isn't right? Okay.
So wait, will you repeat that? Somebody said the PWR is the longer one?
Yes.
Does
You
that
found-
meet the requirement?
No, I'm asking you, did you find anything in it that's like, absolutely not, this doesn't meet the requirements?
Some of them not. It makes sense. Like they use a standard deviation for possibility based on the zone. So it looks like it's a constant standard deviation. I'm not bothered about the way they did the math.
Okay. So that's what I put in your write-up. They're making some statistical estimates. I don't have confidence in them yet, either because I didn't have time to look at it, or I'm not sure they explained it all. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but it means you still have questions, right? On the ETRR, the Egyptian one, anyone seeing something that's like, just, nope, absolutely didn't meet the requirements? Quite a few. Name one.
Movement of fissile material shall be controlled with, labels and postings, deviations investigated promptly, peer review type stuff, emergency personnel locally notified, it's all a no. But a few things maybe they did okay. I don't know. The control parameters and limits seem like they were specified. In a way,
Yeah, it sounded like at the groups, pretty much everyone found that they did specify at least a geometry control. Right? Everyone found that. So we've got at least one. And, you know, again, I know we had a time limit. So I'm not expecting that you go and take this and read more to finish your assignment on what you read in class and discussed, given our time constraint. Do you feel that they're starting to show some compliance, or do you feel like, no, I identified this gap already just in the time I had? Okay, so this isn't something that like you should go and keep reading for hours. We did some analysis, we did some discussion. What I saw everyone looking at was the right kinds of things. We just had one class period to do this in, whereas in the workplace, you'd probably be given a month to do this review. Yeah, Joe.
the Egyptian project was that done before or after?
I don't actually know. Those of you who are online, what did you guys in your discussion and reading?
Sorry, I just closed out of it. So we found for the PWR subcritical limits and validation of the calculation method. And then in the field pool analysis, we found the emergency procedures and validation calculation method again.
Okay, so some indications that both documents have parts that are correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. On Monday, I will discuss with you guys what I think about the analysis. And we can look for some of the pluses and minuses. Okay, all right, that is class. It was built, Joe, in 58. Supplied by the USSR.
So back then, there really wasn't a lot of knowledge about, and the safety culture just didn't hardly exist probably at that time.